Series, and this guy looks so good in the uniform. I liked him better in the Yankee pinstripes, but he made his mark as a Met, Rookie of the Year, bunch of All-Star games. The Straw Man is with us here in studio, Darryl Strawberry. Darryl, how are you, buddy? What's happening?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me. Of course, I'm up here. It's the World Series time.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm really excited for Met fans, and hadn't looked good. They're down 0-2, but that's part of baseball. You got to learn that, and hopefully they can really regroup coming back home and put it all back together.
Well,
Don't let BT's Yankee bias take away from where your heart is.
He's a Met.
He knows what the Mets.
I'm a New Yorker, man.
I love
too. I love the Yankees. I love the Mets. That's just the way it is. But I'm a homegrown Met player. From the organization, being drafted by them, and having an opportunity to play in the big leagues for them and winning my first championship. So I played with a bunch of great guys, and we really established a lot of things in the city.
That was a crazy team, man. We'll never see a team like that again. And the interesting thing, obviously these Mets are down 0-2. You guys were down 0-2. You lost the first two at home. You roll into Boston. I think you put up 4 runs in the first. You win the next game, couple of home runs. When you're down 2 games, it seems daunting. Where do you start? What's the message from Terry Collins to his team right now?
Well, you start within yourself, and sometimes you might have to make some changes in the lineup, move people around to get some things going when you're down 0-2 like that. But as a player, we had such a swagger about us. We knew we were good enough to win. Mm-hmm. It was not doubting yourself, and I think that's the most important thing. Anybody that plays at the high level of sport, that you can't doubt yourself just because you've lost 2 games. That's why you have to win 4 games to win the World Series. It doesn't mean you won 2 games. Okay, they won the first 2, but let's regroup here and let's get it going.
No, you're right. When you start having yourself mentally defeated, you have no chance. When you look at this Mets team, do they have that? Do they have that mental wherewithal? Because they haven't been hitting, and they did it all through the CS and the DS, but they haven't been hitting. How do they get that back?
Well, I think the pressure has been so much focused on the pitching staff, and they've done wonderful, and you can't rely on them just to carry you that way all the way because they're young pitching staff. The offense has to pick it up. Guys have to pick each other up. Some guys have to start making some things happen, and they got to get more into the place where when you come to the plate, you got to be a situational hitter. I think too many guys are thinking too much instead of looking at the situation. It's always about the situation, as far as what they can do as a hitter, and you got to be able to. I always told myself as a hitter, I beat the pitcher when I'm on the on deck circle before I get in the batter's box. Too many of them think and wait till they get in the batter's box instead of beating him on the on deck circle. The on deck circle is so important in the situation, especially when you're in postseason play like this, because you're only gonna get a couple good pitches. And you can't miss all of them. You got to be able to hit one of them, and that's the thing they got to start thinking as hitters. How do I make myself a better hitter in this situation and stop overanalyzing it and just get the job done?
We're talking to the great Darryl Strawberry, 83 Rookie of the Year, 8-time All-Star. And I said this before we started the interview. They call him the Black Ted Williams, growing up in Crenshaw. He's a Crenshaw guy. Yeah, am I right or wrong?
That's Crenshaw. You know about Crenshaw. Don't too many people know about Crenshaw.
Hey, listen,
bro.
I'm from Brooklyn. That's the East Coast version of Crenshaw.
That is.
Nice, although a little safer, thank God. Listen, I look at Syndergaard as a guy, and I know that Matt Harvey is the Black Knight and all these things that he's positioned to be, and he's really good. Don't you know that? Mm-hmm. Obviously, DeGrom was a position guy who learned how to pitch, and he's got 6 stuff. But a lot of hitters that are commentating on this series, retired and current, they look at Syndergaard and they say he looks like the most uncomfortable at bat. Do you see the same thing on film?
He looks like the most dominating pitcher. The way he challenged hitters, and you got to remember, everybody can hit a fastball.
Yeah, at this level, no question.
Yeah, and everybody can hit a breaking ball when you make mistakes. Mm-hmm. And it's not. And when you get to this point in postseason, it's not about making mistakes. Because you remember we had Doc Gooden. He didn't really pitch well in the World Series.
No, he didn't.
You know what I'm saying? But the other guys picked it up. Bobby Ojeda. It's how you pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think coming into Friday game is not about the Mets pitching. The Mets pitching has been good. I think what they need to do is produce runs early in the ballgame. Mm-hmm. To really get the crowd into it and to really allow Kansas City to know that, okay, we're coming to play. And you get a little swag about yourself, because obviously Kansas City has it about them, and if you don't have it, the other team looking at you and they goes, oh, they're weak. And there was nothing weak about us. When we played in '86, teams knew the fact that we can come back and win a ball game. They don't believe that this Met team can come back and win a ball game. They have to show that they can come back and win a ball game because pitching is not their problem.
Yeah, we don't want to be over. We don't want to do the East Coast bias thing. So you got to ask about the Royals. When you look at their lineup, and they kept saying this last night on the broadcast, from 1 to 9, all those guys can make contact. They can get the ball in play. They can hit the home runs if they need to. They can do whatever you want, which means that this pitching staff, which has been so great, really doesn't have the advantage that they used to. That's what the Mets are trying to overcome. I don't know if they can do it.
Well, it's not about the fact that them having the advantage as a pitching staff. How pitching staffs get advantage is when your team is producing. They have to produce runs, for the pitching staff to be able to, contain the other team.
Mm-hmm.
I think too many times, we get in game situations like this and we think, the pitching is going to hold us. That's not going to last forever. That's not. We got to be productive. We got to come up with some big hits. We got to come up with some 2-run homers. We got to come up with some base hits. You got to come up with some things. Things that you got to do fundamentally to make you get runs and stuff like that.
Runs.
Yeah, they're not manufacturing runs. They just, they're stranded runners. They overswing and they overanalyze it. Just get up there. The guy's pitching you away, drive the ball to right center, left center, whatever you have to do, and stop trying to do too much. And I think hitters get to the point where they're trying to do too much. But pitching is the key for the Mets. Mets pitching has gotten them there to the World Series. And they got to remember that because that's what got us to the World Series. Even though we had offense, we were productive, we can produce. These guys can produce too if they get into the place of being more, if they think of like being in the situation hitting. I think they get up there and they think, well, oh my God, I got to get a hit. I got to get a hit. No, you don't got to get a hit. You just get a hit.
Yeah.
And that's what they have to start thinking.
Yeah, you can't play baseball like that. Straw, we know you got to bounce, but it's scary to even utter these words, man. 30 years, a celebration, and all the guys, except, of course, Gary Carter, who passed away sadly, but a lot of the stars from that 86 team, you're hooking up with Steiner Sports. Tell us about it. It's in January, right?
It's in January, yeah. Steiner Sports, they're doing an event out on Long Island, I believe. It's their 86 man, 30 years. 30 years from that championship team. And, Gary Carter's one of the missing links because he played a huge part in us coming back when we went down to Boston. We were down 0-2. He had some big home runs and turned the series around for us. So, but most of the other guys are going to be there. Keith Darling, Doc, Lenny, of course.
No fights like when the team photo that day, right?
No more photo fights.
Straw man, great seeing you, buddy.
Yeah,
we know
great
you're
seeing you guys
bouncing
too,
around.
man.
He's the
Great
legend.
seeing you guys.